Hey people, I got more new subscribers this month in a long time, and so I wanted to explain that hooty hoo that I play in my end screen. It was the owl that brought the omen when the darlings was looking for a wife. And so the omen is, when you see an owl, the next woman you see is going to be your wife. So Andy figured he put that owl on his shoulder, and anybody that believed that omen, he could hook up. But Andy was Hebrew. You could see it here, on Opie. He's got the traditional Hebrew garb on, and he wears the 6-point star. It's also known as a hexagon. He's the old El Hexer, HXR, Hexer is the court. He had the courtroom set up right there in the jailhouse, and he was the old Hexer. He was the judge and jury. But Hooty Hoo was also the secret code that Shirley Goober had dreamt up to get in the door of the clubhouse that Andy was a member of. But it's mostly used when you're standing lookout over some dirty business and to let them know that somebody's coming. Hooty Hoo. So I'm going to give you a quick lesson in Hebrew first. And I'm going to get back to this owl and teach you some of the secrets about this owl. So there's 2 base words for the days in the Hebrew. One of them is the jimmies, Jimmy. The yimmies, the Jimmy. And this other one that's used a good majority of the time, bias. It's a B-Y-U. And the final M is plural because it's an S, it's not an M. It means bias. And so they call it the day because by us, usually the one talking is the gods. And the gods are the 7 planets of the days, by us. You see that here in Genesis 33:16. Who receive, who receives, who return, who receive by us, B-Y-U-S. By us the who, ha-who, the who. The who, as will drac us air. Drac, that's where your word, Dracula comes from, to suck out, to drain, a draft. All comes from this base word, drac. So it's talking to all you puny little humans, and who sees by us, you getting it by us, the who, as will drac, will suck up, will suck us, our, suck us, suck our air. We're letting you breathe our air, so it's the gods talking by us. And we know this is air, O-I-R-E, because it's in the letter meaning chart, to see, make, begin, life. O-I-R, to see, make, begin, life. And so that's air. There was no life until there was air. And so it doesn't always mean the planets. Sometimes it's by us of Lily, of the moon. And sometimes it's by us this and this of joy. But a good majority of the time it's by us the who. By us the who. By us the who. By us the who. The who, Luna, lily, the night lily. Who the night lily? A night lily is a lily that blooms at night, open at dusk and stay open through the night. We bloom at night, we come out at night is what it's saying. And this is definitely representing a lily here. You see the closed blooms here. The who and the lunar lily, the night lily. And they'll say that this is a A-T-H-E here. A-T-H-E. But it's not. This comes from an older writing. And this is a D-R-H, droc. The drachma. D-R-H. And this is known as the Owl of Minerva, or the little owl of Athena. That was the virgin daughter of Zeus. In some of the stories, her mother is said to be Meti, daughter of the Titan Oceanus. And the story goes that Zeus had raped her and then tricked her into turning into a fly where he swallowed her. So she had the child Athena while she was in his head, and crafted a spear and a shield for her daughter, and raised her in Zeus's mind, where Medes soon began to fade into pure thought. And Athena began to use the spear and shield her mother made, banging them together to give her father a headache. And soon Zeus couldn't take his headache anymore, and he had Hephaestus cut his head open to let out whatever was in there. So in the Greek Bible, Zeus is Eve. That's the name Adam gave Eve, was Zeus. And in the Hebrew, Zeus is the command, and it actually means, in English, it means to follow. If you got a command, then your Zeus is your followers. In Medi, I could see it's a French name. And after a consonant and an I, the S is silent. It's pronounced E. And it's a person of mixed ancestry, usually a Caucasian and American Indian. But an alternative version of the same myth makes the Cyclops Brontes the father rather than Zeus. So she was in his head and turned into pure thought, where the Hephaestus cut into his head to let out whatever was in there. Cut into his head to let it out. So several other ancient writers had different stories about this, and that's because their science worked different than ours. And I showed it in this movie here the other day, where I showed how they classified all the plants just 200 years ago. They were all classified by the flowers and not by the species. The associations were made in similarities of the flowers. So Athena was originally the John, the E, the Aeses, the John goddess. And that's in the Hebrew Bible, they'll give that different meanings, but it usually means proud, royally, something like that. It's always something positive. Who presided over the household of crafts. A Messenian fresco depicts two women extending their hands towards a central figure who is covered by an enormous figure-8 shield. The figure-8 shield is infinity. And the ancient Hebrew spelling of infinity is owls. O-W-L-S. O-W-L, the final M is an S. Owls, perpetual. Perpetual. Never ending or changing. And so it hasn't changed in a long, many thousands of years. And the owl is still nested up on that dollar bill. It's still there. The owls meaning perpetual, everlasting, permanent, ever, forever. So there's a whole lot more to this, but I want to hit a little bit of this language down here. This owl went by a couple names, and one of them was Glaux. Glaux. And so back in the day, before the Romans changed the X into a CH, it was a TS. Glaux. Gloats. Just contemplate or dwell on one's own success or another's misfortune with smugness or malignant pleasure. And so way back in the day, the by us, the who, they used to just put it way out big out there. They gloated that, hey, that we are perpetually, forever, the night lilies, the Drac, suck it up. But he had another name too. But this is only when he was on the money. In daily use, the Athenian drachmas were called glucose, with a K, glucose. Glucose is simple sugar. And so ball players would know that as on the money. You hit the sweet spot. You hit it right on the money. The glucose. He who controls the issuance of money controls the government. Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.